while I was distracting the undead bear. Luna was preparing to deal with it. It was then that I heard her say, "I see, so that's how I do it. Things are about to get interesting." I jumped back to give myself distance and to see what happened with Luna. When I positioned myself to see what happened as well as keep an eye on the bear, Luna was gone. In her place was a black-haired fox. Floating around the fox were a dozen dark blue flames. It was then that I heard Luna's voice in my head. "Don't be so distracted. We're still in a fight, though not for much longer." After saying this, she ran towards the bear. Two of the blue flames then covered her front feet, or more accurately her claws, and she began slashing the bear. It let out a mangled roar from whatever was left of its throat and began swiping at Luna, but she was too quick. She then took some distance and shot 6 of the flames at the bear. It didn't look like it did much damage, but then I noticed that the flames weren't burning the bear but purifying it. "Luna, what skill are you using?" I asked as I ran up and parried a paw swipe that was aimed at where Luna was going to land after she jumped up and slashed the bear again. "It's the purifying version of Foxfire. This bear being undead means that purification works wonders on it. I could also use healing magic on it to kill it, but that would require me to basically ride it, and I don't want to do that. It really stinks, and I don't want that smell on me," she said while dodging another swipe. The Foxfire continued to purify the bear when it stood up on its hind legs and started to charge forward. "Velvet, think you can slash open its chest?" Luna asked with some sort of plan in mind. "I can. What are you going to do?" "I'm going to make a concentrated ball of purifying foxfire and shoot it inside, purifying it from within as well." "Got it. One flayed undead bear, coming right up," I said as I dashed into the charge of the bear. When I got close enough, I extended my sword and cut upwards. After that I dodged the swipe of its arms and went back for another cut. After repeating this a few times, there was a big enough gash for Luna to slip in her foxfire. "You're up, Luna. Finish it," I yelled as I jumped back. "Perfect timing," she said as a large ball of blue fire shot past me and right into the opening I had made. When the fire hit the bear, it stopped in its tracks. I could see the fire raging through all of the holes in its rotting flesh. It's a good thing purifying flame don't physically burn something, or it would smell even worse than it already does, Luna said, pawing at her nose. As I was looking at Luna, I got the irresistible urge to pick her up. I acted on that urge, and when my hands touched her fur, it was like a whole new world of softness was opened up to me. Game title, Apostle of Fluff. I got a strange title the second I picked up Luna. Velvet, put me down. If you don't, bad things will happen. I'm only giving you a warning since I consider you a friend, Luna said, her voice becoming colder after every word. "I'm sorry, I don't know what came over me. I just had this urge to pick you up and acted on it before I knew what was happening," I said as I quickly but gently put Luna back down. When I did, I felt a sense of loss. "Luna, what do you do to make yourself so soft?" If anyone were to pet you for extended periods of time, they could get addicted to that feeling. It's a mix of thorough care, lots of brushing from both me and, when we meet, Tamamo, and a title. That addiction is also a part of that title. That's why I hate it when people besides Tamamo touch my hair or tail. "You should be happy I didn't turn you into a vampire popsicle," she said, her voice still cold. "What's a popsicle?" "Don't worry about it. I'm going over there to turn back and redress myself." "Don't come over here," she said as she walked away. "Did I mess up?" I asked, to no one in particular. "Not necessarily. She's just keeping a promise we made to each other. She'll calm down in a little bit. I'm more interested in the title you got," the goddess said, amused. "You noticed the title?" I asked, surprised. "Of course, I did. Who do you think I am? But to think Luna already made an apostle. How very intriguing. She's not even a demigod yet. Do you know what the effect of this title is?" I asked. "Let's see." "It grants the softness effect that Luna talked about earlier, negates the addiction from softness and fluffiness, and once she ascends, you will be appointed as her representative in the mortal world, as well as given access to come and go from the divine domain at will. This tells me a great many things about Luna's potential as well," Tamamo said, her pride in her future wife growing. "What do you mean potential?" I asked, interested in just how much Luna will be able to achieve. "Well, as she is right now, she already has the potential for dual authority, which only a few of the stronger gods have, but now she can possibly gain a third. Like me." "Wait, you have 3 authorities? I thought you only had 1, I said astonished. "No, I have 3. I'm just most well known for the moon. The authorities I possess are over the moon, the night, and gravity," Tamamo said like it was common knowledge. "I see. Then do you also have an apostle, goddess, and how many can you have?" I asked, my curiosity growing. "Gods can have the same number of apostles as they do authority. Since I have 3, I can have 3 apostles. As for your other question, I will, but who it is, it's a surprise for Luna, so don't tell her. Got it?" My lips are sealed this time. "Good. Also don't tell Luna about the title either. Let me teach her about these things as she grows. She can appraise you, but she won't because she respects others' private information," she said in a tone that implied no was not an option. "I understand," was all I could say. Just then Luna returned. "Shall we head back?" she asked, her previous coldness long gone. "Sure, but what about the bear?" I asked, turning around only to discover a pile of ashes. "Never mind. What should we do when we get back?" "Report our quest completion first, then we report about the bear. After that, I'm not sure," Luna said, putting her hand on her chin in a thinking pose. "Alright then, we can figure out what to do after when we get there," I said as I started walking back to the city, Luna following behind me shortly after. Little did I know that, when Luna said she warned me because I was her friend, she was completely serious, as I would soon find out. Author's note: here is the chapter 1 promised last night. Please enjoy. It was so much easier to write when not fighting off sleep. I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for reading. We were heading back to the city after taking care of the undead bear. After the battle, Velvet picked me up, and ever since then, I've been a bit worried. At first, I was angry, but when I calmed down, the anger turned into worry. I was worried because of the Abyssal Fluff title's effects. Tamamo, was Velvet affected by that one title when she picked me up? I asked, my worry evident. You don't need to worry about it. The only way that title will affect someone is if they are exposed to your tail's fluffiness over long periods of time. Not to mention that if it was anyone else who touched you, they would have lost their arms almost immediately, and that is if you are generous. Well, yeah, I was just worried that the friend I made would turn into some fluff-obsessed zombie. That was why I warned her. If it was someone else, losing their arms would be a small price to pay for touching something they shouldn't, I said with a huff. You really like keeping that promise, don't you, Luna? Tamamo said, giggling. Of course, I do. Why do you think I take such good care of my tail? If it's not in top condition when I get to see you in person, then it feels like I lose at something, especially since all 9 of your tails are always pristine, I said, getting heated. Is it wrong of me to not want anyone else's filthy hands touching my tail except for my wife? If anything, they should thank me for purifying their hands with ice so cold it feels hot. Luna, snap out of it, Tamamo yelled in my head. You're starting to scare poor Velvet over there. I looked over to my right to see Velvet slowly inching away from me. What's wrong, Velvet? I asked, trying to put a gentle smile on my face. Are you okay, Luna? Your face kept getting scarier and scarier for a few seconds. If it's about me picking you up earlier, I'm really sorry. I didn't know you hated it when people touched you, she said, looking like she was about to start crying. It's fine, we can put that incident behind us as long as you know to never do it again. The only reason I got as angry as I did was because, when I was little, I promised Tamamo that she was the only person besides myself who can touch my tail, and that promise extends to my whole body when I'm transformed, I said, explaining myself. Duly noted, was all she said. As we were conversing, the city walls came into view. It was then that I thought of what I wanted to do for the rest of the day. Hey Velvet, do you still have nothing to do after we finish our report to the guild? I still haven't thought of anything to do. Why? Will you help me out with some teleportation training? I don't want to feel sick after doing that anymore, so I thought I should just teleport over and over until I get used to it. I need someone to watch over me so that no one comes and tries anything while I'm out of commission, I asked. I don't mind, it's not like I have anything to do anyway. What about your job in your organization? I know I just asked you for help, but is it really okay to go around with me all the time? It's fine, my mother took over my position, and even then, all I ever did was listen to reports from subordinates and sometimes give orders. Honestly, going around with you is so much less boring that I don't think I can ever go back to that job. Well, at least I'm fun to be around. I bet no one from back then would believe it, I said, letting out a sigh. I wonder how everyone is doing now. It might take me a while, but I can find out for you if you want. It might be a bit late, but it could give you some closure, Tamamo said in a warm voice. If you don't mind, was all I could reply. The atmosphere around us turned a bit awkward as Velvet didn't understand what I was talking about, but figured it was complicated, so she didn't pry. I tried to go back to our previous conversation in order to restore the cheery mood. Anyway, thanks for agreeing to help. It means quite a lot. Don't mention it. It'll help us both out in the long run. Anyway, I guess that's true. We finally made it to the gate and went inside after showing the guards our IDs. You want to pick up some skewers or something? That bear fight made me hungry again, I asked as we walked. I don't mind. I was starting to feel peckish myself. After buying some skewers in the square, we started to eat. It was then that I noticed a fancy carriage parked near the guild building. Oh right, there was a noble visiting the guild. We should hurry up and finish our business. I get the feeling that if we don't, we'll get dragged into something annoying, I said as I finished up my 6th skewer. Where does all of that food go? You ate a bigger portion at lunch and now you ate 6 skewers and are starting on a 7th. Also, I agree, dealing with nobles is a pain. To answer your question, I don't know. I've always been able to eat a lot, and the best part is, I don't get fat. And aren't I a noble? Technically? Don't ever tell any other woman that. Luna, you'll only make enemies by saying that. and you don't really act like one, so it can be easy to forget. We continued to converse like this as we entered the guild. We walked up to the counter where Xuanhuan was when I saw another demon girl standing next to her. They looked the exact same, with the only exception being the colors at the tips of their horns. "Welcome back, Miss Luna." "Miss Velvet, how did the quest go?" Xuanhuan asked. "It went well, though we need to report something we encountered on the way back." "But before that, who is this?" I asked, tilting my head. "This is my twin sister, Ibaraki. She is starting her first day as a receptionist, so I am assisting her." "It's nice to meet you. I'm Ibaraki," said the other demon girl, bowing her head. "It's nice to meet you, Ibaraki. My name is Luna. This is Velvet. It'll be a pleasure working with you in the future," I said, while both Velvet and I bowed our heads in return. "Do you think you can process our completed quest?" "Sure, just put the proof of completion or subjugation here and we can go from there," said Ibaraki, trying her best to be professional. I placed the proofs on the prepared tray and Ibaraki took it away to be checked. While she is doing that, "What did you need to report?" Xuanhuan asked, moving on to our other business. "When we left the forest, we stopped to make lunch. While we were eating, a bear came out of the forest. Normally I wouldn't report this, but the thing is, the bear was undead," I said, explaining the events from earlier that afternoon. "That definitely is strange. I'll make a report to the guildmaster later. You'll both probably need to explain it again after that, but it can wait until the guildmaster and his guest are done with their discussions." After Xuanhuan finished speaking, Ibaraki came back. "The processing is complete. Congratulations on completing your quest. If you put your cards here, you can rank up to rank E since you have met the requirements." We put our cards on the designated place and then a light shone. When the light died down, our cards were there but in a different color. Before, it was a dark gray color, but now it was a reddish-brown color that reminded me of rusted iron. We received our upgraded cards and thanked the both of them. We turned around to leave when someone started to call out to us. "Hey!" We started to walk to the door, doing our best to ignore the arrogant voice. "Hey, stop ignoring me." We almost made it to the door when I felt something tugging on my tail. I stopped walking. Velvet noticed and looked over. When she saw what was happening, her face went beyond pale straight to blue. "Everyone get out of here," she shouted, running to get to the door. Third-person POV, all the people in the guild stopped moving around after someone yelled telling them to escape. They were all confused until they all felt it. Killing intent was starting to flood out from close to the door. Along with that, the temperature was dropping rapidly, and a light mist was starting to spread. The more experienced adventurers began to move first, snapping the less experienced adventurers and guild staff out of their confusion. They ushered the people away from the commotion before it got even worse. All of this happened without the cause of this incident knowing. The perpetrator was a short, fat wolf beastman who looked more like a blobfish than a wolf. "You should know better than to ignore a noble, you dumb fox. I'm the younger brother of Baron Doofus, Jared Doofus. You are quite the beautiful woman. I wouldn't mind making you a concubine of mine, so come and follow me," said the pig noble. "Sir Jared, I think you should let go of her or you will lose your hand." A knight came up and said, "What are you talking about? My hand is fine." The being lower than a mongrel started to say when he felt something off. He looked at his hand to find a lump of ice that was slowly spreading up his arm. The farther the ice went, the less feeling he felt. "Jaya, stop, what are you doing to me?" The knights were also being affected by the dropping temperature, the closest of the two already starting to get frostbite. It was then that a voice rang out from the stairs. "What in the name of the spirits is going on here?" yelled the guild master, followed closely by another wolf beast man who was also trying to learn of the situation. When he looked over the room at the only two who were in there, he started to yell angrily, "You idiot of a younger brother, what did you do this time?" He ran over and pushed the poor excuse of a person out of the way, the shock shattering his frozen arm into diamond dust. The guildmaster also came over and noticed who the other person was. "Lady Luna, what is going on?" he asked, but never received an answer. He walked around to get a look at her face only to find it with an expression of such fury it could kill a true dragon. The most terrifying thing though, was her eyes. Their normal calm shine was gone, replaced by a furious silver glow. It was then that she turned around and slowly walked toward the sniveling piece of trash. "No one is allowed to touch me, not you, not her, no one," Luna said, her voice colder than the room. She was about to crush the garbage that even roaches would avoid when someone ran through the door of the guild. "I'm sorry about this, Luna, but you need to calm down." The new arrival, Velvet, said as she slammed her scabbard against Luna's head, knocking her out. She caught Luna before she fell to the floor. At the same time, the temperature started to slowly return to normal. The guild master spoke up. "Will you please bring Lady Luna up to my office? Baron Doofus, please come as well. It seems we are going to postpone our discussions for the time being." "I agree, but can you tell me who this is?" "She is a new adventurer as well as the daughter of Marquis Deacon Reed." Upon hearing this, Baron Doofus paled. He looked at the thing that he was unfortunate enough to be related to and said, "You really screwed up this time, you idiot. Be prepared to face serious consequences for this. You too, bring him to the infirmary here, get his arm some first aid, and drag him up to the guildmaster's office." "It will be done, my lord," said the knights in unison. They picked up the barley sentient dung heap by the arms and dragged him onto the guild's infirmary. When that was done, Velvet, the guild master, and the baron all went upstairs while the unconscious Luna was being carried in a princess carry. Unbeknownst to all of them, in the divine domain, Atmos, the goddess of fate, was laughing. "Ha ha 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 ha. You go, Luna. I'm so happy you are going to be my sister-in-law. Everything you do is so entertaining. Will you calm down, Atmos? You're being annoying," Tamamo said. "I can't help it. That was hilarious. Did you see the look on his face? It was priceless." "While I wholeheartedly agree, it still doesn't warrant being so loud." "Oh, you, and your sensitive ears. You should have seen the look on your face as well. I could practically see the hearts in your eyes." Tamamo blushed a bright red. "I can't help it. Luna looked so cool just then, especially her eyes. The way they shone silver was mesmerizing." "I can't disagree." Author's note, it felt good writing this chapter. That's all I got to say. Thanks for reading. As I was carrying Luna to the guildmaster's room, I thought back on what just happened. I know Luna hates other people touching her tail, but what happened earlier wasn't like her at all. From the brief glimpse I got of her face, it seemed like she lost complete control of her emotions. When we arrived on the 4th floor, the guildmaster spoke to me. "I assume you are a member of Miss Luna's party." "I am. My name is Velvet." I sincerely apologize for what just happened. While I won't say it's okay, there seems to be more to what happened than I originally thought. For now, our only option is to wait for Miss Luna to wake up and hear the details of what happened from her side. "Is that all right with you, Baron Doofus?" the guildmaster asked, turning to the baron beside him. "It's fine. I might have a rough idea of what happened, but it's best to hear it straight from the source." After the baron said this, we entered the guildmaster's office. I laid Luna down on one of the couches and sat next to her. The guildmaster and baron sat across from me. It was then that the goddess spoke to me. "While I'll forgive you for knocking Luna out, will you tell me the reason for stopping her?" "Goddess, with all due respect, if Luna went any farther, it would cause major problems for her. You might not understand this being a goddess and all, but in the mortal world, decent people can't just go around killing others for slights like this. I can completely understand the urge to do what Luna was about to, but if she followed through with it, it would have ruined her reputation and could possibly have even worse repercussions." I said, "I see. While I personally think it would have been fine, if it would cause Luna any trouble in the future, I'm thankful for you stopping her. By the way, goddess, do you know why Luna started acting like that? I understand the whole getting angry for someone touching her tail, but that wasn't simple anger. It was like her emotions went out of control." I asked, my worry evident. "I do know what happened, but I'll let Luna explain. She is about to wake up, and before you ask, yes, she has calmed down completely. Now, I have to go. The goddess of fate is visiting, and I have to keep her entertained." After the goddess stopped talking to me, I heard Luna start to wake up. Luna POV. I feel a dull pain on the back of my head. I can tell I'm laying down, but I don't know what happened. The last thing I remember was someone pulling on my tail and my vision going red. I opened my eyes to an unfamiliar ceiling. "Ugh, what happened?" I said. I looked to see where I was and noticed Velvet, Vince the guildmaster, and an unknown wolf beastman staring at me. "It seems you have woken up, Miss Luna. While you might still be a bit dazed, I need to know what happened and why you caused such a ruckus downstairs," the guildmaster said, a strained look on his face. "I sincerely apologize. I'm not entirely sure myself. I remember someone coming up and grabbing my tail, something in my status changing, and my vision going red. After that, nothing until I woke up here," I said as I put my hand on the back of my head and feeling a large whelp. I started casting healing magic on it when Velvet started to explain what happened. "After that person grabbed your tail, you started to unleash a large amount of killing intent and your mist started to come out. I yelled for everyone to get to safety and ran out of the door. I came back in when I felt the cold lessen a bit. You were about to kill the person who touched you, so I ran up and knocked you out," she said. "As for the person who grabbed you, you froze most of his arm and it was shattered." After hearing that, I didn't know what to think or what I should do. Do I leave that person alone for daring to touch me, or do I heal them as recompense for my overreaction? As I was stuck thinking over this dilemma, the unknown wolf beastman spoke while bowing his head. "Before we continue with this conversation, I should introduce myself. I am Baron Stephen Doofus. I apologize on the name of the Doofus family about my stupid younger brother's actions. Lady Luna Reed, please raise your head, Baron Doofus. I should also apologize for going overboard with my actions," I said, bowing my head in return. "Think nothing of it. That idiot brother of mine has had it coming for some time. He always acts out like that, and I could do nothing about it. Losing an arm should serve as a reminder to him that he can't just do what he wants," he said. Miss Luna, you said earlier that something changed in your status. Could you tell us what it was? The guild master asked. Let me check. I opened my status to see several messages. Charm skill has reached level 10, conditions met, replacing charm skill with curse, reverse charm. Notice, due to intervention of unique skill, status effect immunity. Curse, reverse charm will be nullified due to nullification of curse, reverse charm. Individual, Luna will suffer unstable heightened emotions for a short time while curse is removed. Skill, intimidation LV. 1 obtained. It seems that one of my skills reached level 10 and became a curse, but due to a unique skill the curse was nullified. As an after effect of the curse nullification, my emotions were heightened and became unstable. I explained. It seems your brother just so happened to do something that caused me to get angry at the wrong time. Baron Doofus, what was the skill that turned into a curse? If there was a skill like that, then the guild needs to be informed of it so that we can find others with it and stop them from using it, said the guild master. It was the charm skill, but I don't think we need to worry about anyone else having it, I said, trying to placate the guildmaster. And why is that? He asked. I can't say, I replied. The guildmaster looked into my eyes before backing down, his face still showing a bit of worry. Just as he was about to say something, a knock sounded at the door. Lord Doofus, Guildmaster Vince, we have brought the last concerned party as requested, said a voice from behind the door. Come in, replied the guildmaster. When the door opened, 2 knights stepped in carrying a fat wolf beastman by the arms, or at least they were trying to, since one of them was missing from just above the elbow. When I saw the fat wolf, I started to get angry again, but calmed myself down before I went out of control again. When the fat wolf saw me, his face grew red with anger, and he started yelling, "You damn fox, look what you did to this great me. You better be prepared to face the wrath of the Doofus family. I'll make sure you and everyone important to you suffer for this." Before he could continue his tirade, the Baron stood up and slapped the fat wolf across the face. "Shut up, you idiot. Don't you realize that you are the one in the wrong this time? How many times have I told you to stop walking up to people and harassing them? Do you have any idea how much shame you bring to our family name? This time you have suffered the consequences of your actions, and this is how you respond. Brother, what are you talking about? We are nobles, we should be free to do what we want. Commoners like that damn fox over there should be grateful that we deign to even speak to them." I said, "Shut up, idiot. I don't know how you got the idea that nobles are supposed to act like that, but you are wrong. Also, for your information, that person is the daughter of a marquis, and she had every right to do what she did." After hearing that, the fat wolf's face paled as he looked over to me. When he looked into my eyes, he started to tremble. It was then that Baron Doofus asked me, "Lady Reed, is there anything more you would like to do or anything to say?" "No, I think the loss of his arm is sufficient. It should serve as a reminder of his blunder. I thank you for your consideration. You too, take my brother to our lodgings while we finish our discussions here." "Yes, my lord," the both of them said. As the 2 knights walked over to get the fat wolf, I noticed that one of them could barely use his left hand. I remembered what Velvet said earlier about how I was using my mist to bring the temperature down in the guild and thought that this knight might have suffered from my rampage as well. "Sir Knight, before you go, may I take a look at your left hand?" I asked. The knight looked over to the Baron and he nodded his head. The knight removed his gauntlet and I saw he was suffering from severe frostbite. A feeling of guilt welled up in my chest. I couldn't care less about the fat wolf, but I felt bad about dragging others into my outburst. "It seems that I have caused trouble for you, Sir Knight. As an apology, I will heal you," I said as I touched the knight's hand and used my healing magic. "Thank you, Lady Reed," said the Baron. "It was nothing, Lord Doofus. If anything, this was the least I could do for dragging unrelated people into a mess that I was involved in." After the knights left with the fat wolf, we continued our discussion on how to handle the aftermath of the situation. Though the problem with the Baron was settled as his brothers screw up, I still needed to face repercussions for disrupting the guild's business. Since this is mostly due to several factors involving a skill, the guild can't give heavy punishment, but something still needs to be done. "I hope you understand this, Miss Luna," said the guild master. "I do understand, guild master. What did you have in mind?" "I can either have you not accept quests for 2 weeks or allow you to do quests but have the guild keep the rewards you would have earned. What do you think, Velvet?" I'd choose the first option. You don't earn rewards in either choice, but I want to keep an eye on you in case that after effect is still affecting you," she said. "Then there is your answer, guild master," I said, turning back to face the other person. "Then form now until 2 weeks have passed. You are not allowed to take quests from the guild. If this is all, I suggest you head to your lodgings and wait for the time to pass." "I'll do just that." "Velvet, before you leave, will you report what we encountered this afternoon since you have this chance?" I asked as I stood up to leave. "Sure." After hearing her reply, I left the room and headed to the Fox's Mirror. Author's note: I have returned. I apologize for taking so long to get this chapter out. I was in the middle of writing it when I lost power due to a storm. I hope you all enjoy the chapter. Thanks for reading. When I made it back to my room in the inn, I jumped onto the bed and buried my face in the pillow. Ugh, I messed up big today, I complained to myself. While the thing at the guild was one thing, I almost snapped at Velvet too. While I was looking back on my actions during the day, a wave of drowsiness hit me. What's going on here? I started to say as I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was in Tamamo's home. What's going on? It's not even the full moon tonight, I said confused. That would be my doing. I really wanted to meet you in person, said a voice from behind me. I turned to look at who spoke to see a slender woman with heterochromatic eyes of amethyst and emerald. She had long hair that reached past her knees and was a deep blue bordering on purple. It's nice to meet you, Luna. I am the goddess of fate. Atmos. It is good to meet you as well, I replied stiffly. Atmos, can you stop releasing your aura? You're putting Luna in a tough spot, Tamamo said, scolding the goddess of fate. Fine, I get it. Don't look at me like that, she said, rolling her eyes before turning back to look at me. Again, it's good to finally meet you in person. Future sister-in-law, I know you must be confused about why I called you here, but I just really wanted to meet you in person. Every time I try to, Tamamo stops me, but this time I managed to distract her long enough. I looked over to Tamamo to see if what she said was true, but she refused to meet my gaze. I turned back to face her and said, please take care of me in the future. Then, she smiled brightly when I said this. Before we continued talking, we went over to some seats that weren't there before and sat down. I have been watching you for a while, Luna, and I must say, you are quite entertaining, especially the times you hug your tail and talk to it like you are talking to Tamamo, she said. I covered my face with my hands to try and hide my embarrassment. When do you do that? Tamamo asked, surprised. Oh please, don't act so surprised. Tamamo, you do the same thing. Not to mention that every full moon after she leaves you complain to yourself that your tails don't compare to the fluffiness of hers, she said, her teasing smile growing wider while Tamamo blushed a bright red as well. This is why I always try to stop you from meeting Luna. All you ever do is tease and embarrass me, Tamamo complained with a pout, her face still red. I couldn't get a word in through my embarrassment as well as the revelation Atmos gave me. I started to peek at Tamamo through my fingers, which Atmos caught on to. Oh, what is this? Did you not know about that, Luna? I didn't, I answered. I took my face out of my hands and looked directly at Tamamo this time. This caused her blush to deepen and made me smile. I guess that means I have to start brushing and tending to Tamamo's tails more so that she can at least endure me not being here longer, I said, a teasing smile spreading across my face to match my future sister-in-laws. Don't worry, I have a brushing skill that's almost at max level. I don't know what will happen when it maxes out, but I guarantee that you will get the brushing of your life. I like the way you think, Luna. I give you permission to trap Tamamo in the abyss of fluff with the only way out being her gaining a similar level of fluff, Atmos said, giving me a thumbs up. Will the both of you stop? Tamamo shouted. But it's so much fun teasing you, Tamamo, Atmos said. She's right. Plus it's nice to be on the teasing side of things for once, I said, agreeing. The both of you better be prepared for the consequences of this. Especially you, Atmos, Tamamo said, glaring at the both of us. What are you gonna do, Tamamo? Atmos asked. I'll stop giving you my practice cooking. Atmos froze upon hearing Tamamo's words. Please reconsider. Ever since I tried your cooking, I can't stop eating it. You're on par with the god of culinary arts, and you know she hasn't talked to me since I pulled that prank on her. If you stop giving me food, I don't know what'll happen. The panic in Atmos's voice increasing after every word. As for you, Luna, I might not call you here on the next full moon, Tamamo said, ignoring Atmos's pleading. I was shocked upon hearing her words. There wasn't a single full moon that I didn't spend time with Tamamo since I was 5. I started to tear up. That's not cool, Tamamo. It may have calmed down for the most part, but her emotions are still a bit unstable. Just look at her, Atmos said, turning serious. Tamamo looked over at me and saw the tears falling from my eyes. She got up and came over and hugged me. Sorry, Luna, I didn't mean it. Please calm down, Tamamo said in a gentle voice. Are you still mad? I'm sorry, was all I could say. I'm not mad anymore, so please stop crying. I'll leave the two of you alone for now. It was good to meet you, Luna. Please be careful in the next few months, Atmos said before covering herself in a shining light and disappearing. I'm sorry for being such a mess today, Tamamo. First it was that thing with Velvet this afternoon, then that thing at the guild, and now this. It's fine. While I can't do anything about the first two things, I can at least apologize for going too far this time. I'm sorry. She hugged me tighter while saying this. I think I feel better now. Thank you, I said as I hugged Tamamo back. Author's note, I really hate April Fool's Day, so here, a normal chapter for anyone like-minded. Beware the next chapter might give an overdose of fluff. Thanks for reading. Me and Tamamo sat there hugging each other for what felt like hours. I didn't want to leave her embrace. It was so comfortable. She even wrapped me in some of her tails. their softness was only rivaled by mine. I freed my arms and pulled out a brush. I started brushing one of her free tails, making sure to focus on any spot that was tangled. While doing this, I felt a sensation on my own tail. It seems that Tamamo had the same idea that I did. As much as I am annoyed at Atmos telling you about how I feel about my tails when you leave, it's true. I wish I could get my tails to be as fluffy and soft as yours. You don't have to worry about that, Tamamo. It's my job to make sure your fluff is up to standard. I wasn't lying earlier when I talked about that skill. It'll probably max itself out by the end of our time together tonight. Brushing technique has reached max level conditions. Acquired unique skill, divine brushing technique. Speak of the devil. Did it level up already? Yep, it even gave me a unique skill. What does the unique skill do? I appraised the new unique skill and was surprised. Divine brushing technique, unique skill given to one who has achieved mastery in the art of brushing. Anyone who is brushed by the holder of this unique skill will have nearly unparalleled levels of softness and fluffiness. This unique skill can only be gained by someone who has reached the maximum level of the brushing technique skill and has come into contact with a god or goddess that has allowed the holder to brush them. How interesting. I guess I really am going to be pulled into the abyss of fluff. Ha! Of course, I'll make sure that we will stand atop the world of fluff as its supreme overlords, I said with a strange sense of pride. Don't tempt people like that, Luna. You have to remember you are the abyss of fluff. You're already at the top or bottom. What do you classify the abyss as? Is it the summit or something that someone falls into? I'm not really sure myself. I tried thinking about that a long time ago but gave up. Anyway, since you are the pinnacle, I need to catch up. Foo. That's the whole point of this unique skill, Tamamo. With it I choose who can stand beside me at the pinnacle of fluff. As we conversed about this and that, I continued to brush Tamamo's tails. We continued on for hours when Tamamo said, "Now that I think about it, you're going to get more tails in the future. I wonder what it would feel like to be wrapped up in multiple tails of abyss fluff. I think even I would go crazy. Then you'll understand how nice it feels when you do it to me. When you wrap me in your tails, it feels like being wrapped in the most comfortable bed and blanket that you never want to leave. I probably wouldn't if there wasn't a time limit of me being here," I said as I moved on to the last of her tails. A tail bed and blanket sounds really nice. You'll have to let me try that when you get more. Of course, I will, as long as you return the favor. It's only natural. I'll have to pamper you as much as you pamper me. We started to stare into each other's eyes and inched our faces closer to each other when a light started to shine. Sorry for interrupting the two of you at a tender moment, but if I don't send Luna back right now, her little friend would start to worry. Atmos's voice echoed through the entire space. Damn it, Atmos, did you really have to wait for this moment in particular? Seriously, I'll get you for this next time as well. I'll give you a feel of fluff, then have Tamamo permanently take away your sense of touch. Oh, how scary. I really wish I could let you two flirt longer, but since I'm the one who brought you here, I have to send you back and you've already been here a week. Wait, what? A week? Yep, a week. Your friend is watching over your body right now, but she is getting worried. Fine, send me back, but remember, don't interrupt next time or I'll carry through with my threat. Yes. Till next time, Luna. I'll talk to you later, Tamamo. Next full moon we can continue. Yes, I'll talk to you again soon, Luna. Now go and calm down, Velvet. The light grew brighter and brighter until it felt like I was going blind. When it died down, I found myself laying in my bed at the inn. I looked around and saw Velvet with terror in her eyes. She jumped up from where she was sitting, grabbed me by the shoulders and started shaking me. Luna, are you alright? Why did you fall asleep for a whole week? Was this also a part of the backlash from the curse nullification? She kept bombarding me with questions and shaking me back and forth. Velvet, calm down. I can't explain anything if you keep shaking me like this. Right, sorry, she said as she realized what she was doing. Sorry, please explain what is going on. Why were you asleep for a whole week? The goddess of fate called me up into the divine domain to meet me, and after a while it turned into me and Tamamo spending some time together. It honestly felt like only a night passed up there. I didn't know how long I was asleep until the goddess of fate said something. I see, if it was the goddess of fate then it's fine. Has anything happened while I was out? Not much. There have been more reports of undead popping up in the other forests besides the one with orcs. That doesn't sound good. It probably isn't. My mother is even having her subordinates look into things, but they haven't got any news yet. Then all we can do is wait. By the way, sorry about everything I did last week. It's okay. Anyway, what are you going to do for this week since you still can't take any quests from the guild? I'm not sure. I don't want to just laze around, but I don't know what to do. I'm not really good at sitting still and doing nothing. Here's an idea for tomorrow at least. Why don't I show you around the capital some? You've only been here for a short time, and I don't think you've explored much, right? Now that I think about it. You're right. Let's do that tomorrow then. As for the rest of the week, we can leave that to future us. Author's note, the title says it all. Thanks for reading. As we decided last night, we are going to explore the capital today. Well, it's more like I'm being given a tour from someone who knows more about the place than exploring. Anyway, I got up early and ate breakfast. The proprietress was worried about why I didn't leave my room for a week, so I told her that I didn't feel well and just got better. After eating, I left the inn and found Velvet waiting for me outside. "Isn't it a bit too early for you to be here, Velvet?" I asked. "Not at all. I figured you would probably get up early since you slept for so long. Not to mention that you seem excited to go around the city. How could you tell? Your tail gives it away," she said, chuckling. "How embarrassing. I thought I got over that a long time ago," I said while covering my face in embarrassment. "You really don't need to. It's quite cute," said Tamamo. "If you say so," I said, getting embarrassed for a different reason. "Anyway, where should we go first? There aren't many places that are interesting this early in the morning." "What do you mean? Locations shouldn't be any different, no matter what time of day, right? If you just want to see a place, then that's true. But if you want to experience the atmosphere as well, then you need to be there at the right time. For example, going down a street lined with stalls during the day is one experience, but going down that same street during a festival feels completely different," Velvet explained. "I guess you're right. Speaking of festivals, are there any that happen here this time of year? There will be one next month to celebrate the defeat of the King of Fiends. I'm surprised you haven't heard about it, especially since your father was a leading figure in that whole ordeal." "I knew about that festival. We held a similar one back home. I just didn't realize it was that time of year already. Come to think of it, this'll be the first year I don't celebrate it at home. I guess that means I'll miss out on the wyvern meat." "You've eaten wyvern meat before?" she asked, surprised. "You haven't?" I asked back. "Only once, and it was only a little. I guess I'll have to share some with you when I go on my hunt to get a semi-permanent stock of wyvern meat someday." I'm suddenly getting the feeling that wyverns are going to go extinct. Nah, I'll stop at endangered. If I don't, then the meat will run out eventually, though that could mean that I can have a monopoly on top quality meat for a while as well. I'll give this more thought later. You saying it like that makes it seem like you're serious. I am though. My words left Velvet with a stunned look on her face. While she was still trying to process what I said, I changed the subject. "Anyway, do you want to just walk in a direction for a while and see where that takes us? Might as well. We can even split going around the city for at least 4 days, with one direction for each day. How does that sound?" "Sounds fine to me. It's not like I have anything to do this week anyway." "Which direction do you want to start with? What do you recommend?" "I'd say east. That way we can go around the shopping district." "Okay, then that is the way we go today. Maybe I'll even find some souvenirs to send back home. I wonder what everyone would like." "I'm fine with anything if it comes from you. There is actually something I've been thinking of getting for you, Tamamo, but it's going to be really expensive, and I don't think even the funds that I left home with will cover it. So, it's going to have to wait a little longer unless." I turned to Velvet and asked, "Do you know anywhere that sells orichalcum for a reasonable price?" Velvet looked at me like I grew a second head. "Luna, the only place that even deals in orichalcum is the Dwarf Kingdom, and that's on the other side of the continent. The most you will see here is in the hands of an S-rank adventurer, and none of them are in the city at the moment." How annoying. Even Blake never let me have any when I asked. You would think he could spare some, but no, he would just say, "I'm not giving you any. I barely have enough to satisfy myself." I'm more surprised this Blake even has the skill to craft with orichalcum in the first place. Of course, he does. He's a former hero after all. That's right, you did say you're acquainted with a former hero, didn't you? What do you even need orichalcum for in the first place? It's the best metal to enchant with space magic. If I can get my hands on 2 pieces big enough to make a portable mirror, I can give one to Tamamo and use it to talk with her face to face instead of just telepathically. I thought you were going to try that with mirrors made from your ice magic? I was at first, but then I learned that ice made from magic doesn't mix well with space magic enchants. It immediately shatters. The same thing happens with small pieces of mithril. I see. Then the mirror plan will have to wait a bit longer. Unfortunately, I guess that's a reasonable thing to want orichalcum for. Anyway, we're almost there, Luna, so cheer up. The place we're close to right now is a market that deals in food and alchemy ingredients. I thought that it would be best to come here first so we can get a look around before it gets super crowded. Smart, I said when I started to smell some freshly baked bread. I just ate and now I'm feeling hungry again. I know, right? I love the smell of freshly baked bread. You want to go get some? Sure. We headed over to the bakery that the smell was coming from. We walked up to the window and talked to the baker. "Good morning to you, lovely ladies. Interested in buying some bread?" he asked. "We are. It smells so good, and we want to know if it tastes as good as it smells," Velvet said. "Then you're in luck. I just pulled a batch out the oven. Give it a few minutes to cool and you two can have first pick of the day." We made some small talk with the shopkeep while the bread cooled. When it was cool enough, he brought over several small loaves. Velvet and I picked one up, paid, and took a bite. It tasted like a biscuit with some sweetness mixed in. "This is great. The only thing that could make it better is if you drizzled some honey on top." I said after taking the last bite. That sounds like a great idea, Missy. If only honey wasn't such an expensive item. I'd love to do that, said the shopkeep. Has its price gone up recently? Velvet asked. Yeah, it has always been expensive, but the price has been going up steadily. Something about decreasing supply or something. Where does the supply come from? I asked. The northern forest is the closest place that I know of. Something must be happening there. I glanced at Velvet, and she nodded her head. It seems like whatever is happening in the forests is starting to affect more than just adventurers now. We thanked the baker again and left, walking towards the area that sold ingredients for cooking and alchemy. When this week is over, do you want to try and investigate this problem, Velvet? I asked. We could, but do you have any idea on where to start? Not at all. Then we should leave it to people who know what they are doing. After you left the guild master's office last week, I reported the undead bear we fought, and over this past week, other adventurers have reported seeing undead in the other forests as well. I remember you telling me that before. What other undead have been seen? I don't know all the details, but it's mostly animals like wolves, deer, and boars. We might have been the unlucky ones to run into a bear, even if we took care of it like it was nothing. Okay then, we'll wait and see. Though if the guild asks us to step in, we'll have no choice. We went around looking at what people were selling. I decided to buy some things here and there to top up my stock. It was then that Velvet asked, "Is the bag that you're putting all that in a portable inventory?" Something like that. Anyway, the next place I'll show you is the place where you can buy miscellaneous things. If you're going to buy souvenirs for people, that is the best place to go. Then lead the way. Author's note: hello all, I'm splitting these next chapters into parts, otherwise they'll be too long. I hope you all enjoy nonetheless. Thanks for reading. After a few minutes of walking, we made it to an open space like the one where the guild is at. If I had to compare what it looked like, it would be a bazaar. Though it was still a little early, there were already a lot of people around. Ugh, it's so loud, I complained, folding my ears down. If you think this is loud, then it's a good thing we got here when we did. Around noon is the time this place is the most packed. You'd probably go deaf. Yeah, let's hurry then. Walking around, I saw many people selling many different things. One person was selling cheap-looking weapons, while another was selling some kind of pottery. There are so many different things here, I said, voicing my thoughts. The people around here are mostly apprentices trying to sell their works as well as advertising what their teachers make. While looking around, I saw a stand that was selling small pendants. I walked closer to it so I could get a better look at what was being offered. One pendant that really caught my eye was in the shape of the sun with a red-orange colored jewel in the center. Has this pendant caught your eye, miss? Said the stand owner. It has. Where was this jewel found? It's a magic stone that was found near a volcano. It is what is left over from a bigger piece that my teacher used when making something for a noble. It has the effect of slightly reducing mana cost of fire spells as well as keeping you warm when it's cold. Not that it matters much in this kingdom. How much for it? I asked, thinking I could give it to Soleil. 5 silver and 20 copper. Here you go. Thanks, and if you ever have any requests, go to the jewelry store Dragon's Horde. We cater to both commoners and nobles. I'll keep it in mind. I might go there to make a commission when I get more money, I said, an idea for a gift crossing my mind. I walked back to Velvet, and we started moving again. You have a good eye, Luna. That shop is quite famous. You might get a discount since you met an apprentice out here. Not to mention that pendant is quite high quality for something sold so cheaply. That's the thing about places like this. You never know what you're going to find. I thought you didn't have any experience with places like this. You make it sound like you've been here before, Velvet said, looking at me with suspicion. Crap, I forgot I haven't told Velvet everything about myself yet. For now, I'll just make up an excuse, but eventually I'll have to explain myself. Maybe after we are done going around the capital. You see, I heard about it from some people who talked about it during breaks from training. I see. How about we go over there? It looks like they have some interesting things, Velvet said. I looked over to where she was talking about and saw a stall selling different kinds of masks. I looked back at her and saw her eyes sparkling. You like masks that much? I enjoy collecting them. My favorite kinds are the ones that cover your whole face, but if any catch my eye, I normally buy it. We walked over to the stall and took a look at what was being sold. There were several kinds of masks ranging from full face to half face. Ones you could get at festivals to ones you would wear to an opera. Velvet looked over all the options and picked up one that looked like a pair of butterfly wings. How pretty. How much? 10 copper. Velvet hands over the money and we leave the stall. Want me to hold on to that for you so you don't have to carry it all day? I asked. Sure, thanks, she said, handing me the mask. We spent another few hours there until it started getting too loud for me to handle. We moved out of the plaza to a side street. Who knew it would get so crowded and loud so fast? I said, massaging my head. Want to get an early lunch? There is a good place close to here. Sure. We walked for about 10 minutes until we arrived in front of a door in the back of an alley. Is this the place you were talking about? I asked. Yep, This place may seem like it's in a bad place, but they have some of the best pastries in the city and they serve it with this thing they call coffee. It's bitter but goes well with the food. After hearing her explanation, I chuckled inwardly. So, it's a hole-in-the-wall cafe kind of place. How fun. Seems interesting. I'm looking forward to trying it. Then let's go, she said as she opened the door. Inside was a bit dim, but tastefully decorated. There was some light chatter from other patrons, but it wasn't overly noisy. At the counter was an older gentleman that could pass for a bartender in a high-class bar. This is nice, I said. I already like the place. I know, right? It's a good place to go if you get tired of the crowds outside. The older man looked up to see who came in. When he saw Velvet, he smiled a bit. If it isn't Miss Velvet, it's been a while since you last came here. It has been a while, hasn't it? How've you been, Mr. Bart? I've been well. You and your people have been good to me. That's good. Let me introduce you to my new friend here. This is Luna Reed. She just got to the city about a week or so ago. Hello, I am Luna Reed. It's nice to meet you, I said, introducing myself. Greetings, Lady Luna. My name's Bart. Bart Ender. You're a noble? I asked, a little surprised. I used to be. I passed my position down to my son a few years ago and decided to open up this place to pass the time. How nice, I said. Is there anything I can get you ladies? Mr. Bart asked. We'll have the pastry set with coffee, please, Velvet said, ordering for the both of us. Very well, then, take a seat where you like, and I'll have it right out to you, he said before going into the back to prepare our order. We went and sat down at a table near the wall. You know, if Tamamo could come down here, I'd love to bring her here on a date, I said, giving voice to the thought I just had. That does sound nice. When you see her on nights with a full moon, can you use magic? Velvet asked. I can, yeah, I answered, confused. Then can't you use your illusion magic to replicate the place and people? I mean, you've mastered it to the level you can make physical illusions, right? Velvet suggested. Velvet, are you a genius? Because I think you're a genius. I agree. As a reward for giving me such a good idea, I will pay for the both of us, I declared. You don't have to do that though. Velvet began to protest, but I stopped her. I already declared it, so the only thing you can do is accept. Velvet, I said jokingly. Fine, my gracious friend. Allow me to impose upon your kindness, Velvet said, playing along. We both started to giggle when our order arrived. Here you go, ladies, please enjoy. If you need any more coffee, just call me over. After we nodded our heads, Mr. Bart walked back to his spot from earlier. I picked up my cup and took in the aroma. It brought back memories from my previous life. I must have looked strange because Velvet gave me a look of concern. Are you all right, Luna? You seem kind of sad right now. It's nothing. The smell of the coffee just made me remember something from a long time ago. I'll tell you about it later. Okay, just know I'll listen whenever. We continued to eat our pastries that came with the coffee. They really did pair well. How did you find out about this place, Velvet? I asked curiously. Mr. Bart's family has been close to our organization for a long time. I even think one of my relatives married into his family at one point. But that's not important. When he retired, he came and asked my mother for help in opening this shop. They made a deal where she funded the shop and he agreed to let our people stay in here during the day. I see. What do you want to do after this? We can either go to the place where they sell clothes or the place that holds auctions. Let's go to the place where they sell clothes. I feel like if we go there, we'll end up spending the rest of the day there. Okay then. While we're at it, let's decide where we'll go tomorrow. Which area of the city has all of the places like blacksmiths and alchemy shops? That would be the west. Is that where you want to go tomorrow? Yes, I need to resupply on some trap-making things and to get some throwing knives. Not to mention I want to get some poison-making materials. It sounds like you're preparing to go through a defensive battle. You never know when you'll need stuff like this. Better to hoard it now than not have it when you might need it. That makes you sound like some of the heroes from the past. They always went around picking up even the smallest things. I never really understood why they did it, but it was funny when, after they lived out the rest of their lives, their inventory suddenly dropped everything that was in there. The reactions from other people were hilarious. Atmos even passed out from laughing a few times. That is hilarious. What's so funny? Velvet asked. Tamamo was just telling me how I sounded like past heroes. Velvet looked convinced when I said that. That makes sense. Heroes always were a little weird. Speaking of past heroes, I think I know the first shop I'll take you to. Oh, is it run by a hero? It was at one point, but it's been like 200 years since then. Were you around for that? No. While not true for a lot of vampires, I'm as old as I look. So, you're around 20? Spot on. Okay, then we're closer in age than I thought. We finished up our meal, I paid our bill, and we left to go to our next destination. Author's note, here is part 2 of 3 for the East. I'll try to get part 3 out tomorrow morning at the earliest. So until then, thanks for reading. When we left Mr. Bart's shop, I realized just how nice of a place it was. After exiting the door, it was like someone started playing speakers on full blast. Velvet, let's get out of here before my head explodes, I said, the sound giving me a headache bad enough to make me tear up. Follow me then, I'll try to get us out of here as fast as possible. We stuck to some of the alleyways to avoid going through the crowds, though some of the alleys amplified the noise. This reminds me of bigger cities in my previous world. How do they manage to get so loud without machinery and vehicles to add to it? It's as loud as it is to you because of your race. Most beastkin have this problem until they get used to it, or, if they have the money, buy a magic item that dampens sound. Why was I never told that something like that existed? It would have been great to know about those beforehand. I didn't know about them either. Atmos just came over again and saw you were struggling and told me about those. And does she know where to find one? Hey, Luna, it's me, Atmos. If you want one of those items, all you have to do is keep following your friend there. They should sell them at the place you're going. Atmos stopped grabbing my head to talk to Luna. You can talk to her like you do when you give oracles. I know that. I just wanted to see if this worked as well, and now I know it does. By the way, what did you do to get your hair so soft and silky? It's always been nice, but now it's exquisite. That was Luna's doing. I think it's a part of her new unique skill. She only brushed my tails last time, but the effect of that skill must extend to the whole body of whatever she brushes. I might have to ask her to help me out with taking care of my hair next time she comes here then. No, both Tamamo and I said simultaneously. Why not? Is it because I interrupted the two of you right when things were getting good last time? While I'm still a bit upset about that, that's not the reason. Same, but the real reason is that we're going to try out an idea Velvet gave us earlier. Fine, but I'll get your help one day. Luna, she gave up easier than I thought she would. As I was talking with Tamamo and Atmos, Velvet led me onto another side street that opened up to an area that had several shops that clearly catered to nobles and other wealthier people. Now that we're over here, the noise should be more manageable. How are you doing, Luna? Better than earlier. Tamamo and Atmos have been talking with me, and that helped keep my mind occupied. So, the goddess of fate is talking with you as well? I don't think it'll be a regular thing, or at least I hope not. Did she do something to offend you or something? Aside from one thing. No, it's just me being selfish and wanting my head to be filled with only Tamamo. Ha 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 ha. You should see the look on your face. Tamamo, it's so red it looks like a tomato. Ha 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 ha. I see. Anyway, the shop I wanted to bring you to is close by. We're about a 15-minute walk from there. Good. By the way, Velvet, did you know about sound dampening magic tools? Are those a thing? Apparently. Do you think they'll have one at the place we're going? They do, according to Atmos, though how she knows that, I have no idea. When we arrived at the shop, I saw a few carriages parked outside. Should we wait a little bit before going in? I asked. Probably. The crest on the leftmost carriage is the Doofus family crest, and the Baron himself should still be meeting with the Guildmaster, so that leaves only one other person it could be. Then let's come back later. We walked away from the shop and spent a few hours looking around. During that time, I picked up some nice-looking clothes that would transform when I used my fox transformation skill. I also got pick out some cute clothes for Velvet. It was then that I found out that she is one of those people who look good in anything. Velvet, how do you look good in anything you wear? I could ask you the same thing. Luna, especially when you put on lighter colors. It makes me jealous. She was about to continue when a commotion occurred in front of the shop where the carriages were. Do you realize who I am? I am Jared Doofus, the younger brother of Baron Doofus. We saw the fat wolf harassing a lady that was trying to get on a different carriage. You would think that he would have learned to stop doing that by now, don't you think? I asked in a monotone voice. I don't think people like that can learn. Velvet said in the same monotone voice. Should we get involved? I think my face would be good enough to scare him away. No, his brother's knights should show up any second. See? True enough, 2 knights came up behind the fat wolf, knocked him out, and unceremoniously threw him into his carriage. One of the knights got into the coachman's seat while the other kept apologizing to the lady that was being harassed. This is going to cause the Baron another headache. Was the person he was harassing a noble in a higher standing again? Yep, this time it was the daughter of the only duke in this country. I really pity the Baron. It can't be easy to have a brother like that. I agree, but now that he's gone, want to head over there? Let's go. We walked over to the shop and saw that the Duke's daughter was still there. A maid was standing next to her examining her arm. "Milady, are you sure you're all right? That disgusting wolf grabbed on to you pretty hard," said the maid. "I'm fine, Louise. It's nothing, putting some ice on it won't fix. Not to mention it would take a lot more than that to hurt me." "That's true, but I still think you should go see a healer." I looked over to Velvet and whispered, "Should I go and heal her? Why get involved? It has nothing to do with you?" She whispered back, "I just feel some weird sense of camaraderie with her." "Do what you want, I won't stop you," Velvet said with an exasperated look. I walked over to the two and spoke up. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. I can use some healing magic on you if you want. The two of them turned towards me and the maid asked, "Who might you be, miss?" "My name is Luna, Luna Reed." The Duke's daughter's eyes widened a bit when she heard my family name. "I heard Marquis Reed had a daughter, but I didn't know that you were in the capital. My name is Shauna Ash, daughter of Duke Ash. This is my personal maid, Louise. It's nice to meet you, Lady Reed. You can just call me Luna. I came to the capital to be an adventurer, so you don't need to act formally towards me." "I see. Is it true that you can use healing magic?" "Yes." I thought I should speak up since I have had a similar run-in with that fat wolf, though in my case he lost an arm. I was wondering why he only had one arm. "Yeah, that was my fault. Anyway, would you like me to take a look at your arm?" "I don't mind. It's not really a big deal, but Louise won't leave it alone." "Of course, I won't. I can't let my lady be injured, no matter how insignificantly." I looked at her arm and saw a handprint was left behind. I wouldn't even call this an injury, but here you go. A silver light shone, and the mark disappeared. "Thanks. Is there anything you want in return for taking up your time?" "Not really, though if I can ask. Don't blame the Baron for that fat wolf's actions. He's having a hard enough time dealing with him as it is." "I understand." Louise walked closer to Shauna and whispered into her ear, "It seems that it's time for me to go, until we meet again, Luna." The two of them got onto the carriage and left. After they were gone, Velvet came up to me. "Did you get everything out of that you wanted?" "I really just did that because I wanted to, though now I also have a connection to a duke's daughter, so I guess you could say so. Shall we go in then?" "Sure." When we entered the shop, I saw lots of different styles of clothing. It ranged from formal wear to casual. What really caught my eye were several styles of kimonos and yukatas. "Oh, those are so pretty," I said, walking over to them. "I wonder if I would look as good as Tamamo does in one of these." "I think you would look great, especially in that blue one over there." I looked at the kimono Tamamo was talking about. It was really pretty. I went over to a clerk and asked about it. "Excuse me, could I trouble you to allow me to try this on?" "Of course, go and wait over there and I will bring it over to you." I walked over to what I assumed was a dressing room and waited. The clerk brought it over and asked, "Will you need any assistance with trying this on, miss?" I was about to decline when Velvet walked over and spoke. "I'll help her out." "Okay then, if either of you have any questions or requests, please let me know. I can dress myself, you know. These are actually difficult to put on if you don't know what you're doing." "Luna, just let her help." After hearing Tamamo's words, I relented. After a few minutes of struggling, I got the kimono on. I looked into the provided mirror and was shocked by what I saw. "You were right, Tamamo. This does look great on me. It really does. You look so good that I want to see you wear that every day. Maybe in the future." "You look great, Luna. I would have fallen for you if you weren't already spoken for." "Thanks. I think I'll buy this then." I asked Velvet to help me take it off so that I could buy it. When we were done, I walked up to the clerk from before and asked to check out. "Luna, don't forget about that other thing." "Thanks for reminding me." I looked back to the clerk and asked, "Do you have any magic items that dampen sound?" "We do. They come in several varieties. Are you looking for any particular style?" "I'll just take a look at what you have and decide from there." The clerk pulled out a tray that had several magic items that were shaped like earrings. They were all quite pretty, but the ones that sought my eye the most were a rather simple pair of rings. "How much for this pair?" "These will be 20 silver and the kimono is 15 gold. "I'll take them then. Thank you for your patronage." After that we left the shop and headed back to the inn. "Today was fun," I said. "I agree, though I'm a bit worried about your funds." "Luna, you bought quite a lot of stuff today." "I'll be fine. I have enough to last me at least 2 months before I have to worry." "Okay then. Do you want to meet in the same place from this morning tomorrow?" "Sure, I'll see you then," I said as I walked into the fox's mirror. Author's note: sorry I didn't get this out earlier. I overslept and then had to go to classes yesterday morning. Thanks for reading.